So one other thing I thought was something that was very concerning to me to see was the way that security was handled here at Palace Station, and it seemed to be a joint effort between casino security and also local authorities. There were a lot of people who were angry, and I understand that they had set out a specific forum for this event. And while I might disagree with that forum personally, it is what they set out, and I get that. So when people were standing up and being vocal, they were being asked to leave, and I understand that, and I have a problem with that. There were at least 2 occasions where I saw security and/or law enforcement physically manhandle or intimidate some of the guests who were there being asked to leave. In one case, an older woman who seemed to, like, her arm was in a sling. She seemed to have some form of medical issue. And look, I don't care what your political beliefs are. I don't care what your situation is. Something like that is just never acceptable. It's never acceptable, and that's a wrong precedent to set. And it was very, very concerning to me to see, American citizens being handled, particularly, older ladies being handled in that way, and and that is the one thing that got me out of my seat and started making noise.
And to further clarify, these are people who, while they clearly had disagreements with Senator Heller, they did register for this event. They signed in and were allowed in by LIBRE.
Yes, and I talked to a couple of the different organizers from LIBRE, the event, and I was actually rather disappointed in their level of concern for the way those people were treated as well. When the one particular woman I saw with her arm in her sling, when she was being escorted out, I actually followed them to make sure that the police weren't continuing to mistreat her in that way. When I saw them outside, they had stopped physically manhandling her, and I turned to one of the organizers and I said, look, I understand why you're asking people to leave. I'm not personally in favor of the outbursts, but I'm not okay with the way the authorities are manhandling these people, and I basically got a blank stare of indignance. And then later, I asked a woman who was one of the organizers what happened with that woman, because I didn't stick around. I was trying to listen to what the center had to say. So I asked what happened, and she seemed completely unconcerned with the welfare of the woman. She said something effective, well, she got physical with the police, and they escorted her off the property. And all I can think of is this woman, by appearances, I don't know who she was. By appearances, was in her mid to late 60s at least, and had clearly had some mobility issues. She had her arm in a sling, and she wasn't walking very fast, and so they were pulling her for that reason, pulling her in a very physical way. For what reason, and what were they concerned about in terms of their safety and concern, from this woman? All I could think of is, really, these are younger, male cops, and this was a little, she was probably 5'0", maybe 175 pounds at max, little old lady. And what is she gonna do to these big dudes that they need to be that physical with her? That is just unacceptable, and we have to be better.